Hello, everyone, once again. Thank you so much, Secretary Frasco, for being here to tell the Philippines story. And of course, we know about Philippines as this, great beaches and even greater hospitality. But lately, post-COVID, we are seeing some kind of a shift in the way Philippines wants to welcome the world. And I discussed it with you off stage as well. I'm personally very excited about is the digital nomad visa. You've announced the digital nomad visa. It's not yet implemented, but it's going to be implemented very soon. And that also reflects a shift from traditional tourism to something that's more long-term and more embedded, right? So what is the vision for the digital nomad visa? And is this a reset for the way in which Philippines wants to welcome the world?
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm very grateful for the opportunity to tell the Filipino story to the world through Skift. The Philippines finds itself at an age of transformation, where it seeks to reintroduce itself to the world from the lens and the strength of its cultural identity, its heritage, its stories that can be found in our many communities across our 7,641 islands. Through the Digital Nomad Visa Program, institutionalized by our president by signing an executive order just last month, we hope to be able to attract long-stay travelers from all over the world to work in paradise, where the value proposition that the country offers is not just a low-cost stay, but one that is of high value, that provides cultural and immersive experiences, a population that is unparalleled in terms of its hospitality, warmth, and proficiency for English, as well as a host of islands that are ready to have these digital nomads enjoy their experience while working and traveling across the Philippines. We've heard of places like Palawan, which has just been declared as the world's best island, where we are welcoming people who seek to have immersive adventures as well as cultural experiences while they're able to work. And the vision for the country is to be able to attract travelers that are quality in terms of their respect for our framework towards sustainable tourism, as well as travelers that are able to benefit our communities by way of higher tourism spending as well as repeat visits. And so overall, our approach is really to be able to ensure that the Philippines develops in a manner that provides unforgettable, immersive, and cultural experiences, but also safeguards the longevity of our destinations.
The digital nomad visa is great news, but it's also the fact that you can't deny the fact that you are entering a very crowded space. Like Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, they are already in the race, right? So how do you plan to carve an identity for yourself to cater to the remote work economy?
For one thing, the advantage of working in the Philippines is really the ease with which you're able to travel as well as to relate to the local communities and find assistance wherever you may be, especially that the entire country is an English-speaking nation, apart, of course, from our native languages in the country. On the other hand, our focus as well is really to be able to have a strong infrastructure in terms of assisting our digital nomads in the country. And so we work very closely with our regional offices as well as our local government units across the country to make sure that tourism safety is of top priority, as well as opportunities to have cultural experiences in the country are present through our tourism circuits. We're also laying the groundwork to ensure that longer-term stay in the Philippines is possible. This has already been institutionalized by way of our Philippine Retirement Authority, which offers a special retirees visa for those that may wish to stay beyond the 1 year that is allowed in the digital nomad space.
Yeah, very interesting point that you talked about infrastructure. When this policy, when this digital nomad visa was announced a few weeks ago, I remember you called it progressive, right? So, but clearly digital nomads need more than just visa. You know, they need stable Wi-Fi, they need workspaces, they need a community. So how are you working on a national and then on a local level as well to ensure that someone would want to stay at Boracay or La Union for like 6 months and not just travel through?
Well, our president has very clearly articulated that digitalization efforts in terms of every aspect of governance in the country is really in place. And with that, we entered into a partnership with the Department of Information and Communications Technology precisely to improve Wi-Fi connectivity now in over 90 destinations all over the country. And we anticipate that with our focus on ensuring high quality digital infrastructure, as well as providing policy shifts that will attract further investments into the country, such as the signing and the passage of the Create More Act, which provides investments for foreign direct investment, then we will be able to build an even more robust space for the country, for digital nomads. In addition to that, there are already in place several opportunities in the country for them to graduate into being part of our economy. For example, in Cebu, where I'm from, we have a very strong business process outsourcing community, and this is now also being replicated across the country. There are also very many spaces and places now in the country where English as a second language is quite very strong tourism product. And all over the country, the shift and the move now is also to improve our physical infrastructure. Our president has aggressively pushed for public-private partnerships in terms of the development of our airports to be able to expand our connectivity. And we have made very conscious effort at increasing direct connectivity from places all over the world to the Philippines. These include the inaugural flight from Paris to Manila very recently, Canada to the Philippines, as well as hopefully very soon, India to the Philippines.
A direct flight from India?
Yes.
That would be great news, because I think that has been in the works for a really long time, right? Secretary Frasco, you know, I'll just zoom out a little, you know, of course, away from digital nomad now. Last year, you had impressive tourism figures as far as revenue was concerned, right? But your visitor numbers did not meet expectations. And that was because of the fact that there was a huge dip in China numbers. As I mentioned, you know, when we were talking, you talked about how that was such a big, you know, reason for the short visitor numbers. But are you looking to build reliance in newer markets and not just, you know, depend on China? Is there a longer-term shift to, you know, move away from, you know, China markets?
Yes. 2024 was a banner year for the Philippines in a sense that we were able to garner the highest international tourism receipts ever at around $13 billion, which marks a 126% recovery from our pre-pandemic numbers. Albeit, it was quite a devastating loss in terms of the Chinese market, from our target of 2 million to receiving around 300,000. I don't need to elaborate on the geopolitical nuances that ultimately affected those numbers. And so the lesson that we learned from that is to really be able to diversify our dependency into other markets as well. And so now we're targeting markets such as the Middle East and the GCC, as well as India. And of course, to strengthen further our source markets from South Korea, Japan, the US, as well as Europe. And to that effect, because of our efforts to diversify, we are seeing, for example, from the Middle East and the GCC, an average of no less than 500 to 800% growth rate in terms of international tourism arrivals. We've also recently signed a memorandum of agreement with Emirates,
Emirates, yes.
precisely to be able to expand connectivity, not just to Manila, but across our other destinations as well, including Cebu, Clark, and other islands, as well as to ensure that the readiness of the Philippines in terms of Muslim and halal-friendly travel
exactly. I was
further
about
expands.
to ask that. We discussed it earlier with Fazal as well. So when you are catering to the GCC market, how are you, catering to Muslim-friendly travel?
Under this administration, there has been a very serious push towards expanding the Philippines' halal and Muslim-friendly tourism portfolio. So strong has this push been that Crescent rating of the Global Muslim Tourism Index has recognized the Philippines for the second year in a row as the emerging Muslim-friendly travel destination thus far. Mm-hmm. And with that, the Department of Tourism issued a memorandum circular to be able to shepherd our accommodations and resorts in the country to become more Muslim-friendly. We've signed memoranda of agreement to this effect, and we've launched the Philippines' very first Muslim-friendly cove, specific area in Boracay, okay, that caters to Muslim-friendly travel. In addition to that, we're also now working with the Department of Trade as well as our hotel and restaurant associations to be able to increase the number of halal offerings in the country precisely to cater to the culture and the needs of our Muslim travelers. With that, we're very excited to see growth coming from these jurisdictions. And that being said, we recognize as well the large expat communities from the GCC, and which has become a large source market for us, especially that the Philippines offers visa-free travel to around 157 countries. And so it's quite an attractive proposition for the country. We're also now ensuring that our offerings in terms of luxury travel, mm-hmm, gastronomy, as well as health and wellness is expanded and further improved as these are coming out to be very strong tourism products for the country from these markets.
When you talk about Middle East as a huge, strong growth pillar, and of course your recent tie-up with Emirates as well, that also has a lot to do with the huge expat population that you have in the Middle East as well. So are there any other markets that have a large expat population, Philippines expat population, that you are trying to target? And are you trying to tap the expat population as well?
Absolutely. The Philippines, the beauty of travel to the Philippines is that it's a very diversified destination. We're able to cater to any type of traveler, whether you're a solo traveler, a couple, family, and the like. And so with the number of islands that we have and the readiness of these destinations, then we're excited to welcome people of all nationalities. Mm-hmm. That being said, we're also now very excited in terms of the growth that we're seeing from Australia, specifically, in that there's an average of 22% month-on-month growth that we have seen since the beginning of the year, especially with proximity as well in terms of our...
Is there direct connectivity with Australia?
Yes, there is direct connectivity, and the good news is that the connectivity is expanding in terms of the number of cities from Australia and the number of destinations in the country. We're also very excited for the robust growth that we are continuing to see from our top source market, South Korea. Mm-hmm. And especially that their attraction towards the Philippines has expanded from Cebu to Bohol, as well as Clark, and especially in terms of our diving, golf tourism, as well as beach and adventure.
Any plans to have any South Korean K-drama shoot in the Philippines?
Actually, there's one that's shooting in the Philippines already. It's quite exciting, and I'm sure it'll make global waves when it comes out.
On a regional level, I want to ask you about something that keeps coming up, and that is the ASEAN visa, much similar to what the GCC visa or the Schengen visa. And of course, all of us know that that would be a game changer for ASEAN tourism. Where is that conversation headed? And do you see that becoming a reality?
Well, the ASEAN tagline is a destination for every dream. And the ASEAN visa certainly is part of that dream. To be able to unify the ASEAN as a destination in terms of the strength of its natural assets, its unparalleled warmth and hospitality as a people and as a culture, and in terms of the quality of experiences that we're able to offer, is one that is aspirational for us in the Philippines. And as a Minister of Tourism, it is a proposition that I have tried to make at every opportunity. I'm glad to hear similar interest from our fellow ASEAN nations, and we are very hopeful that the subject matter will again come up as the Philippines hosts the ASEAN in 2026.
And how do you envision the ASEAN visa once it comes into practice, whenever it might be? Would it be, would then Southeast Asian destinations stop competing among themselves and then work towards, just a unified lot?
Well, competition is always very healthy, but collaboration is healthier. Mm-hmm. In a sense that ASEAN coming together to work as a force for good for the world would really benefit all of our countries. And we're grateful for our existing collaborations with countries such as Thailand,
exactly,
with whom we have recently signed an implementation program for our Memorandum of Cooperation on Tourism, specifically for our two countries, one destination effort, where we seek to learn from the many positive attributes that Thailand has had in terms of tourism, and we hope to share the strengths of the Philippines, especially in terms of hospitality as well as a diversification of tourism products.
You kind of preempted my next question, because I was going to talk to you about this tourism collaboration with Thailand. And also because Thailand has proved itself as far as cultural tourism and medical tourism is also concerned, right? So what is it that Philippines can learn from its ASEAN neighbors? And what is the unique value that you can bring to the ASEAN tourism story?
Well, Thailand specifically has really been able to leverage on its soft power, especially in terms of making the imprint of their Thainess in everything that they offer in terms of tourism. And the effort on the part of the Philippines is the Philippinization of our tourism offerings, to be able to reintroduce our country in terms of the strength of our culture, the stories among our communities, and the traditions that we continue to practice. What I'm wearing, for example, is the result of generations of tradition from tribeswomen in the southern part of the Philippines that continue to weave into the fabric of society many, many years of community and values and a sense of family. And so what we bring to the table in terms of travel and tourism in the ASEAN is a story of a proud people that is the result of generations of influence. We are a unique destination in that it's not one-dimensional. You have many influences that have passed through the country that have resulted in this rich and diverse cultural experience that can only be had in the Philippines. While you're enjoying the beach, you can enjoy our lechon, a result of the Spanish influence, or taste our bam-e, a result of the Chinese influence, as you enjoy our tuba, which is our local alcohol, which is also the result of other influences from other cultures that have come through our country. The end of it all is that you arrive in the Philippines as a guest, but you leave as family. That is the Filipino way, and that is the Philippine experience that we are able to offer to
Love
anyone who comes
Philippines,
to the
right?
country.
Your tagline,
Love the Philippines.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much, Secretary Frasco. I would have liked to continue this conversation, but we are short of time. Thank you so much for helping us see the big picture. We are very excited for what comes next for Philippines.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Daghang salamat.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.